Hi everyone, good morning. Here comes the second session of the day. This morning, some of you already listened to our colleagues talking about digital media, which is more about video, animation, right? And now the second session will be interactive media. You might say another kind of media. So, again, we are also like digital media. We have a top-up degree. We have 2 years offered to all sub-degree holders. And after 2 years, if you graduate, you will get the honor degree. If you are good, you will get the honor degree, Bachelor of Arts in Interactive Media. And first of all, I introduce myself. I'm Dr. Kenny Chow. You can call me Kenny. My interest or specialism today is more about behavior change. And I'm also very interested in the study of imagination and creativity among all of you, including general people. That means both designers and users. We believe creativity and imagination exist in everyone. Other than that, of course, we have a list of other colleagues in School of Design. They all specialize in interaction design and interactive media. The second one, Bruce Wang, he is our deputy program leader. That means my deputy. His expertise and interest today is very much about about smart tourism. It's very much related to this building. Hotel Icon. You know Hotel Icon and School of Hotel and Tourism Management also related to design, especially how smart technology might come into play. Also, you might call it enabling technologies. That means technologies today empower people to do something, to change to a better life. We also, of course, other colleagues, Dr. Hua Wei, her expertise interactive storytelling and game design, more related to entertainment experience. And then we have Dr. Newman Now. He is very much related to well-being and healthcare together with human factors. What is human factors? In the old days, human factors is very much about our human dimensions. How tall are you, or the arm length, or what is your size of your foot for the shoes. So it's very much important for designing furniture or physical objects for human use. But today, we are dynamic. We have digital media. We are more dynamic. So Newman focus more on dynamic human factors. When people move, when people move is also related to physical health. That's why they are connected. And then we have Dr. Jeffrey Ho today. We have Dr. Jeffrey Ho today. And by the way, Dr. Hua Wei just came. We already introduced Hua Wei. And Jeffrey, his expertise lately very much into virtual reality. One very important technology is related to interactive media. In a way, he also related to data science, informatics. So how data might inform design, which is very, very cutting edge, and it will define the future of design. We all know that. And Alex Ho, you could see the keywords. He is very much interested in children and education. And Bliney, he is actually a product design college. He teaches in another design degree in School of Design, which is product design. But he's also related to tangible interaction. Actually, interactive media part of it is connected to product design. Because product, no matter today, you might think about a product like a smartwatch, or a product like a fridge, or a air conditioning at your home. Actually, today all those devices became smart. So it connected to technologies, it connected to interaction. So that's the reason why Bliney is also teach one subject in our team. Last but not least, very important colleague of us is Victor Zhang. He specialized in mechatronics, that means mechanical stuff, mechanical engineering together with electronics, robotics, a little bit. So you probably heard of a culture today which is called maker culture, which is combining DIY, do-it-yourself culture together with electronics, together with things, 3D printing, and also the hacking culture. All this together enable people to make something for themselves. We are not only controlled by the enterprise producing something for us. We could actually make something for our own use. So Victor will help you to make things. That is very important because make things and prototyping, we call it prototyping. That means create some original initial versions of your design is very important in your training for the 2 years. Okay, so this is just a brief walkthrough of the related courses in School of Design. But you will still think that what is interactive media, it is less straightforward compared with digital media because you might say digital media is very much about video production, animation. I saw some of you already assume that for digital media, but how about interactive media? What is it? Especially when we talk about interactive media in design school. What is the relations between design and interactive media? It is, as we know, it is something very emergent, pretty new in School of Design and also in the design market. You might think of, okay, as I just said, it might be related to this kind of buzzword, right? Virtual reality, augmented reality, or even mixed reality. That means virtual items created by computer graphics combined with physical stuff, physical things. So this is something, of course, some of our students, they would actually do. They create what we call prototype. This is common prototypes for prototyping tools for virtual reality. Some of you might know is Google Cardboard. They experiment, they prototype, they demonstrate the effects and the power of virtual reality in their design ideas. But of course, we also have augmented reality today. All of you just take your phone, mobile phone, you will play around with anything like overlap some computer graphics on real stuff. Maybe putting a mask on yourselves, you turn into some others. It very much recall us of a old-time classics of a science fiction movies, being John Malkovich. If you have not seen it, I really recommend. I strongly recommend you to have a look at these really classic science fiction movies. Everyone can be John Malkovich and turn into the perspective, jump into the perspective for John Malkovich. So, so that's why science fiction movies are always related to technologies. Furthermore, something that I also want to take this chance to share with you is lately, when I visit a museum in Denmark, it's an anthropology museum talking about human history, human origins. So we all know that over a million years ago, humans already have some so prehistoric humans, Homo sapiens and Homo erectus, so-called 直立人, before Homo sapiens 智人. All this, they talk about this long time prehistory, long time ago, distant past. Virtual reality and augmented reality is something that help people visualize something distant past. So I came across this, something like telescope. I can look through the telescope and look at some dummies, some models in the downstage. When I look through it, I see there's some instruction. I can turn the dial. That means the dial next to it, I can turn it. When I look through it and turn the dial, I first see the model of the Homo erectus, 直立人. And then I zoom in. When I turn the dial, I zoom in. the visual gradually change into a distant past, turn around the Homo erectus in maybe a million years ago. So this is what we call mixed reality, you might say. It makes the real actual stairs and the model together gradually combined with computer graphics. So this is also some possibilities for so-called virtual or augmented reality. Other than that, some of you might think interactive media might be just related with some very persuasive device. Every one of you have this in your pocket. So it's all just about mobile. But of course, you know this is not just a phone. It is something that enables you to be mobile anywhere and anytime. So because of many technologies like the GPS, like the Wi-Fi, like the mobile network, we all know we are tracked. Our location actually are tracked by the device. Of course, it might provide some convenience for us. Like you could see, like in a carpooling app, you can see that how distance you are from a car that you are called upon. Or you could also see that it could turn into some location-based games like Pokemon Go. So it's very much like a radar, right? A handheld mobile radar. Some of you, I don't know how many of you still remember this classic anime, Dragon Ball. If you not, I think, again, you have to look at it because especially those interested in animation, you have to be aware of all these important classics in animation and movies. So all this, you could see that science fiction movies, animation is connected to technology. It inspires to use or to invent new technology. But today we also talk about IoT. What is IoT? Internet of Things. That means not just the mobile phones, not just the computer. Actually, in the near future, every physical things are connected in the level. You might call it Internet of Things. So, for example, one of my own research work is a device that connects the ashtray with the digital picture frame. So it measures how often the user uses the ashtray. So you could relate this is something related to smoking. It actually helps people to quit smoking. So it tracks how often you use the ashtray. If you put the ashtray in the box, lock it up, you will clear out the images and see the beautiful pictures, maybe your family members in the picture frame. If you use it too often, it will get dusty. So the idea is very much like indoor pollution. You smoke, and then the smoke will pollute the indoor air quality. So it becomes so that the digital picture frame also gets dirty. Of course, it is all virtual. So this IoT is also the combination of physical and virtual. Lastly, maybe some of you just think that interactive media is not just about interface. Interface. What is interface? Interface is everywhere. It's just a control panel in an elevator. You will find all these at your home near somewhere or in this building or elsewhere. So what is the difference here? Maybe I'll give you a mental exercise like 1 minute to think about what are the differences between these two control panels. There are some design differences. As an interface, what are the design differences between these two control panels? You could see that there is number of force, number of levels correspond to different buttons. But the arrangement of buttons is different. You could also see there are something like the position of the open and close button, and also the subtle dots on the button. I almost uncovered the answers to you. So what are the differences? Anyone can just quickly point out what are the differences? Well, which one is better to you? So-called better interface, better design on the interface. Yeah. You can speak in Cantonese. I'm local. Anyway. Yeah, very good. The most obvious thing is this side, you can see the braille, the little dots that allow those VIP visually impaired person, they might not be good at visuals, but they can touch. And they can tell which buttons corresponds to which levels, which floors, right? Secondly, what else? The bell. Yeah. Yeah, the bell actually pop up. It stand out because of the color, right? Good point. What else? Something is more subtle, but actually it's quite interesting. Many people overlook, especially the designers of this control panel. He overlooks, or she overlooks, something very subtle but very important. What are the differences? Like, look at the arrangement of the four of the button. They are arranged in a different ways. These, they arrange, well, look at the numbers. They arrange like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, no 4, but you know, all up and then come down again, 15, and then come down again. So it arranged by column. And this, it arranged by row, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? You might say, okay, that's typical by row by column. You might think, okay, I open an Excel files and then you can do it easily. So you would not pay attention by row and by columns. But sometimes by rows and by columns are very important. Look at this case. Today it is a very common scene you will find in Hong Kong. Many high-rise, many residential buildings are like that. If I ask you, if you are a visitor, you are not a resident, you're just a visitor, you are going to look for 25th floor, 25th floor. You might spend some time, okay, 21, 20, okay. You can look at this because it's by row, so it's 21, 22, 23, 25. So you know the level corresponding to actual physical level. So more or less 25 or 30 or 20 something is here. But if you arrange by column, sometimes a 20 something can be up above, but 29 or 28 can be go to the bottom. It would really mess up the visitors when they want to find a floor they want to go to. So very subtle, right? Very subtle. Not obvious, but this is designers' work. Designers have to attention to details. Look at the subtleties. Designers 設計師係要非常之細心 Look at the details, attention to details. Look at the subtleties. Okay. Some other examples I came across in other places is they invent some new system for control panel. They bring about technologies, maybe so-called more intelligent system, so that everyone have to input their floor to go, and then the intelligent system will tell you which lift, which elevator to go. Say, okay, take number C. This is the lift for you. Okay, so you follow, right? So it's quite intelligent. very systematic. So sometimes it is the so-called application of technologies in our everyday life. It seems like it makes a better life. It seems like something new, so-called new technology, actually bring about new and better use of something, better our everyday life. But what is the downside? Can you imagine? Can you think about some possible scenarios? This intelligent system is too systematic. So it might create some messy, it might create some troubles to some people in some occasions. 你諗唔諗到有一啲情況，有啲人係喺某啲情況，呢一個係會令到佢哋更加混亂方面呢？ Can you think of some scenarios that might be troubles, inconvenience, or messy to some people in some occasions? Very important now, what I'm doing right now is I'm actually checking your attributes, whether you are suitable in studying design. If you think you are good and suitable in studying design, today we are not talking about drawing. If you think I'm good at drawing, I'm good at taking photographs, then you are good and prepared for design. No, not enough. Other than visualization skills, designers have to be very thoughtful. You have to use your imagination to think about some different possibilities. 唔同嘅可能性，你要用你個腦諗下有啲咩可能性。喺你日常生活好簡單嚇。If you want to go to 420, you input 420 and then that's it, right? That's it, right? Good. What happens if you get to the elevator C and then you suddenly remember you are not going to 20, maybe you have to go to 15 first because you have to visit some colleagues in another department. So you suddenly change your mind. You have to go to 15 and then back to 20, back to your office. It will be very, very impossible. It will be inconvenience. You have to go all the way back to the ground floor and re-input the 15 again. You cannot change your plan. So this is the problem. Some intelligent systems like this is very well designed, well structured and systematic. 我哋就係話好系統性嘅，好有秩序好 order. But everyday life sometimes is not so systematic. It always have accident. It always have something so-called contingency that you might change your plan, you might change your thoughts, you might want to make a change. But in this system, it's very hard to change. You have to redo everything again. You have to go back to the ground level, so-called revert to ground level. Restart everything again, right? So that means design has a bad or good or bad, pros and cons of design. So as designers, all of you, in the future, you all have to be prepared to think about what are the good or bad of every design. No design is perfect. Every design has sometimes something good, but otherwise, sometimes they might mess up. Okay. If you like all this, what I talk about, the examples I just showed you, then you have a very good future. Because this is what actually today very, very in demand in the market. Not just in Hong Kong. Not just in China, some of you mentioned China. Not just in China. In Asia, in Korea, in Japan, in Singapore, in Thailand, in Indonesia, in India, in Europe, in Australia, in America, all over the world, people looking for all this because interactive media or interaction design is pervasive, it's all around us. We need people to do all this, starting from user experience, user interface, all the way to more like interaction, games, or even a bigger pictures looking at digital product. So, of course, I'm not just saying some empty words to attract you. This is some real figures of our graduates in the past. Our program start, of course, we just say digital media have already over 10 years of history. Interactive media come after this. So we don't have 10 years. We more like have 7 years. Our first year start in 2012. The first graduates, first cohort graduate from the program is 2014, already 5 years ago. And those graduates I actually met some of them this year and last year because some of them already get married. They have wedding banquet. So I went to their wedding banquet, I see many of them. Quite many first or second years graduates, right now they're already reaching the middle level in the companies or something. Some of them actually coach, lead a design team in user experience because user experience is too new. So they are something like the new blood that we didn't know about user experience and interaction design, so that's why they have a very, very good career in those years. And now, of course, it's still good. If you join the market, you might probably come across many of our graduates in those companies. You can see that it spans across many different fields, not just traditional design agencies, so-called advertising or design studios, not just like that. It's all over different types of companies. Startups, technology startup enterprise, but other than that is of course finance, so-called finance technology, fintech, bank or finance companies, hotel and tourism like here, and retail, digital marketing, small digital agency, but media companies today, View TV, PCW, under PCW, they actually recruit a lot of colleagues, graduates, not colleagues. So this is something you might consider. Okay, so just some technical facts. You probably know we have 2 years, and we actually welcome all these sub-degree holders. They acquired some of the major students of ours in the past. They might be focused more on media or communication or advertising, but some of them actually is in IT, data science, or even business marketing. So that means if you are not coming from design, don't worry, you might still got a chance. How many of you actually not from design? Not directly art and design sub-degree students? How many? No? Good. You are good, yes, yeah. Because every year actually those stand out from all other design students usually are non-design students, non-design degree holders. They have better analytical skills. They have better analytical thinking. Our design students usually is more intuitive. Say, they can make good things, beautiful things. They can point out some beautiful things, very good sense of aesthetics. But they don't know why. They cannot tell, they cannot say how to make something better because they just know this is good, this is bad. But they don't know, they might not be good at telling how to improve the bad thing to the good thing, how to make a design better. They might not be good at that, but they can make very good design. This is design students. Non-design students are very analytical. They can point out the bad downsides of a design, and then they can improve a design. They can make a design better. So different mindsets, right? Different sides of the brain, left and right brain, but no worries. We need all of you, because today no single person can solve all the problems. We always need a team, just like what Dr. J. Ho talked about this morning about digital media. Saying interactive media, all kind of design today is no superstar, no single superstar. We need a team of superstars. That means a team of talent. Different designers might have different edges. They work together, they complement to each other. They build a team. That's very important. So we need different types of people. A diverse makes all of you to make a better design team. In the future, of course, after graduation, you might think about further your study. Some of you, actually some of our graduates, after working 1 or 2 years, they come back to us to further study in our master. This is something that for your future. Okay, so after 30 minutes, I'm about to start today seminar. Wow, crazy. I already talked about 30 minutes. It's just an introduction. But the actual content, maybe you will think that this is more important to you. You need all this information, right? If you really want to apply, you might want to know all this. So I will quickly walk through. First of all, I show you some thing that you might design in your final projects. So I show you some FYP of our past students. What they did is always like this: new and better ways in everyday life with technology. Look at all these keywords, very important. First of all, we need your imagination. We always require designers to have imagination. So that's why for the elevator control panel, I asked you to imagine what's possible scenarios that are good or bad, right? Some people might be good, might use the elevator systems. Sometimes it might mess up. This is imagination. You have to imagine. 你需要想像. Based on your everyday life experience, you have to imagine some better ways or new ways with technology. With technology is important. So, because sometimes the technology messes up our everyday life. Technology is not always good. Sometimes it really messes up, right? We all know that. But we have to make a better way so that technology would not mess up our everyday life. So, for example, the year before we have a student design a system using gamification to motivate users to walk their dog, walk their pet, so that they water the pet every day, walk the dog every day, so they can build a good relationship, and also they will be healthy together. Another one is two students focus on the family relationships, how to connect parents at work, in the office, together, connected to those, say, their children, their little kids, the babies at home, together with the grandparents and also the domestic helpers. So this is the very important use of technology. Some consider some small market, or you might say individuals or little shops to work with, to connect with retailers. So this is what this is. Imagine we have many restaurants, small shops. They need wine, different kinds of wine. You know, wine is something very tricky, very knowledgeable. It requires a lot of knowledge, and also it requires suppliers. How small restaurants connect with the suppliers of those wine. So they build a platform to connect them. So today is very important because we all know we want to help small shops, right? Today this is the #1 priority in our everyday life. We want to help small shops, small restaurants, how to connect them with the supplier that would eliminate those middlemen that take advantage of it. So building a platform allow them to connect to each other. This is something that digital media can do. Another thing also helping small shops, especially those so-called in the upstairs, not in the streets, so-called 嗰啲樓上店啊。We have a lot of stores and shops and restaurants today upstairs, not in the streets. It's very hard for them to expose, to publicize, to advertise their presence. So what this student suggests is we create some digital token like flyers and poster, but it's not physical, it's digital. Attached to some lamp posts or some traffic lamps, so that everyone, when they use the mobile phone, they can see the virtual digital tokens attached to it. And then they can get a coupon, they can go to the stores upstairs. Right? It's good, right? It's good, right? So imagine the storekeepers, they can apply, they can add digital poster or digital tokens or digital coupons in the streets to attract people to come upstairs. So why this is very useful today. Go make something like this, help them, right? This is a system that help people to have a better ideas of all the product information, not just the price, but also the origin, or also the production process, whether it is fair trade, whether the production is organic, all this information, right? This is even better. It connects two kinds of people in the society. Those who like to once in the city, together with those who use wheelchairs. Now, maybe I just take a few minutes to show you the demo video for this one, so you could have an idea what you would do in the future. So every one of us, if we could walk easily in the city, if we run in the city, we could mark the details, whether there's staircase, whether there's narrow alley, that is not wheelchair friendly. So that we mark all this information. Those people using wheelchairs will get better information how to navigate in the city. Right? They can avoid all these staircase and narrow alley because of that. Of course, they can make a greetings and thank you to each other. They can build relationship, strengthen the bonding between people. Okay, so this is an example of what we call concept video or demo video. You could see that you don't really need to program. Some of you might be curious, okay, interactive media, do I need to code? Do I need to program? Some of you, if you are able to code, you can program some so-called prototype or experiment to test out some effects. But if you don't like to code, you don't need to code. Actually, you can create demo video like this to illustrate your ideas. What we need is ideas. We are not training programmers. We are not training engineers. We are training designers with good imagination with technology. So some other cases, some year past is a device motivate people to quit smoking. Okay, so now I quickly show you some pictures that, okay, this is just a program document. But this is something that you will need to do. Research. You might need to do some research starting from so-called second-hand, looking all those statistics and data and information you collect, you find from internet or from article, not by yourselves. So-called second-hand or secondary research. But sometimes you have to do your own research, first-hand research. You study people. You actually interview people. You conduct survey, questionnaires to people. You observe how people do something like shopping in the supermarket. And then you will analyze your findings. You compare different possibilities or compare different applications in the market. You design. So-called wireframe is some very common interface design process you would do. But you would also, most of the time, doing something we call prototyping and testing. Prototyping, create some initial original versions of your design and test it, and then improve it, revise it. So it would have so-called iteration, generation of your design that go through this prototype and testing process. Here, what we show you is including paper prototypes. You use paper to build prototypes. And then you use digital to do prototypes. You create something on the screen. But sometimes you need to do electronics. So that's why you will need someone like Victor to help you to do electronics, to do physical stuff. So that's why so-called prototyping is not just digital. It's a cross from physical to digital. Demo is very important. This is the year one studio. Every semester you will demonstrate your studio project. The most important subjects for you every semester, so-called studio project, 6 credits, 14 weeks, full-blown design projects. At the end of the semester, you demonstrate to tutors or to guests. So Jeffy is commenting on a student's work, student presenting with all this. So you could see that it's already not just screen-based, it's already involved wearable devices, virtual reality, or physical stuff. Second semester, you move on to create installation even. So you have all these bigger scale artifacts. It's an installation, not just an object. And then second year, you will have real clients in co-op projects. You will present your ideas to real clients, not just tutors. Meanwhile, you also have other learning experience. Some of you asked, okay, what other learning experience is, for example, study trip. You will have the study trip electives to choose for your second semester, and you will visit somewhere like in Japan for more like consecutively 4-3 years. We have brought students to Japan, Nagoya, to a university, for them to experience some different cultures, especially those field studies. They actually have field study. Go to the field， 真係去田野研究，唔係就係去街嗰種田野，係真正嘅田野研究。To know more about environments, not only city, but not only urban environments, but also suburban environments。一啲鄉村我哋都要做一 design 俾佢哋嘅。 當然亦都有一啲other cultural experience you might experience because it's Japan, right? It's different from China or Hong Kong. We also have summer exchange. I try to answer the questions from all of you. So you could have summer exchange every year around May and June and sometimes July. You will go to other university. If you like, of course, you have to apply. See whether other universities might pick you. 2 universities already have a partnership with us, including one in USA, North Carolina State University, and Simon Fraser University from Canada. Dr. Wasimei actually earned her PhD in Simon Fraser University. So you know that is very, very relevant to interaction design and interactive media. What you need? So be prepared. You have these attributes. Not only aesthetic sense, not only technical skill, not only communication skill. Of course, you need communication skills. Verbally, talk to people in both Cantonese and English. You need to work with people. You need a very good personality, cheerful and open personality to work with people. We cannot work alone. You have to work with others. You also need design insight. You need ideas. You need imagination. So that's why we need your thinking. Last but not least, empathy is very important. Empathy. Put yourself into other shoes. You have to know what others need. 呢個嘅所謂嘅同理心，我哋成日都講，同理心唔係同情心，即係唔係同情，而係你真係代入佢哋嘅角度去諗嘢，知道佢哋嘅需要同埋希望。So put yourself in other shoes. So when to apply? Last piece of information is the deadline, 10th of February. Please, no extension. Before 10th of February, press it on the internet, on the system. How many of you already pressed the button? 有幾多人已經 apply 咗啊？Okay, very good. Okay, very good. Let's remember your face. Okay, because we will interview you. I remember your face, so you know we will have a better impression of you. And after pressing the button, we prepared a demo video to submit around mid-April. Mid-March. And then you will be invited to interview. If your demo video is good, that we think that you demonstrate some good attributes, good qualities in your demo video, then you will be invited around early April for the interview and some attitude test. Okay? So the demo video, very important. Probably you already have some idea when you see the demo video I show you. The wheelchair together with the runners in the city. This can be an idea that you could make something like that. Making a video, making some pop-ups or some graphics on the screen, or making a prototype, a physical mock-up, and make a video. You don't need to make a Hollywood science fiction movie. So don't worry. You don't need to make any realistic visual special effects. We are not digital media. So you don't need to make visual effects. 即係你唔需要做到話啲特技好似真嘅一樣。You just make some graphics to let us understand what happened in the video. It's about storytelling. Tell the story clearly. It can be about a website, application, game, whatsoever, but it has to be your original new idea. original new idea of you, okay? The context tell us what and when and where people will use it, how they feel about it, why you think they like it or they need it. So just think about answering all these questions, showing all these contents in your videos. Basically, it's a story, it's a scenario, telling how good your idea is. Okay, so I skip all this because we run out of time. So last 10 minutes, I give you for questions. I noticed that many of you are very shy. You might not ask questions directly, but we have Trevi, we have Hua Xin-wei, we have me. You could ask any questions. You can ask in Cantonese. Trevi and I are local. We know Cantonese, but Hua Xin-wei is better using English. You can ask us any questions. Any questions, especially those already applied? You probably want to ask some questions? Yeah, good. Portfolio submission, good point. I didn't mention it. You don't need to show us portfolio until the interview. That means you submit the demo video first. That show your original new idea. It's not your portfolio. The demo video showing your idea about interactive media, a new idea, using technology to make a better life for us, and make it a video, simple 2-minute video. And then we will invite you to interview. During the interview, you show us your portfolio. So you prepare to bring anything like your logbook or your computers or your poster, whatever. You could bring all the stuff with you to interview. We will see your portfolio during that. Okay? Clear? Any other questions? Two choices. Like if I have your program at the choice 2, will you consider? Oh yeah. That is tricky. Very tricky questions. I have to say we will consider both choices, first or second. But of course, priority always goes to first choices, so-called first choice, right? So we will go. So priority goes to that first. But we will consider second choice, don't worry. Okay? We know that because many students, many applicants might want to consider like communication design or advertising design or product design first. But the number of non-JUPAS coders is more or less the same, you might say. Interactive media, like digital media, we will have about 30 in every year. Other discipline might be a little bit fewer, might be 20, but more or less the same. Any other questions? Yeah. Demo video, as I showed you, is mid-March. So I can't tell right now, but you might assume it's like mid-March anyway. After you press the button, I think it's time for you to start prepare your demo video. So you would have more or less like 1 month to prepare it. I think it should be good, right? So most importantly is your idea and your storytelling skills, of course, because you have to tell your story in the video, and which is part of the communication skills. So we need good storytellers using media. We also need good imaginer, good designer with good imagination for ideas. Of course, we also need some aesthetic skills. When you prepare your video, you would want to make something that looks good, look nice and pleasant on the video, right? So all those we will consider. If they are good, then we will invite you to interview, look at your portfolio, and also look at your personality. Okay? Oh, yes, yes. Very important. Some of you might want to turn your final year project into the demo video. If you think that the FIP idea is also related to interactive media, you want to turn it into the demo video, of course, it's still your own work, it's okay, but if the FIP is group project, that means it's not your only work, not they work only by yourself. Then you have to spell out the team members. You could say that you contribute to the ideas and some video production and some interface design, of course. But you have to clearly spell out what is your contribution, your part. 即係話咧，如果你個 FIP 係 group project，你又想將佢變成嗰個 demo video 入邊呢個所謂 new idea 嘅一個 story 嘅話咧，得嘅咁但係你要話俾我哋聽，你做嘅嘢係乜嘢可能你係特登做個 video 嘅完全雖然個 idea 係成個 team 一齊諗，你可以話個 idea 係成個 team 一齊諗，有啲 interface 係你做，但係有啲 interface 係你嘅 partner 做可以嘅，或者呢個 video 咧有啲係你拍，有啲係咩都得嘅，但係你要 clearly spell out your contribution, your part in the video. At the end of it, so-called the credit, end credit， 即係 end credit 要加嗰啲嘢 ，OK？ 得唔得咁樣就後面撥緊手啦，咁所以就最後一條問題不過完咗之後，你哋都仲可以喺個場外問嘅
即係個 demo video 嗰度就提到話咗關於譬如話你整UI 或者整遊戲，譬如話 game， 但係你 game 先係 for entertainment purpose 多啲，但係咁你點樣去話what the user think?
Yeah, so that's why we say is the experience, not only not only users, it can be people, it can be audience, it can be players, it can be anyone. How they experience 所以個體驗即係話佢唔係就係用，唔係有時唔係實際嘅用途嘅唔係 task oriented， 因為有一啲 design， 就算有一啲 apps 咧，我哋都未必話係 task oriented， 係嘛因為你Facebook 你唔會話 Facebook 係一個 task oriented 嘅 app 嚟㗎嘛It's more like experience oriented just like games, just like entertainment So we focus on the experience. Sometimes it can be task oriented, sometimes it can be experience oriented. Okay? Yeah, so we have to wrap up. So now, if you have further questions, feel free to ask at the back of the floor. Now I have to pass the stage to the next discipline. So thank you, bye bye. Hope to see you in the interview.